I agree with that point that Travis Scott hypes up the crowd a lot. And then what was the second part?
Actually, they said incited the crowd. So please don't try and spin it and make it positive.
I'm not making it positive.
I mean, from hype to inside.
Oh, sorry.
Don't paraphrase, Taff.
Inciting? But what do you mean by inciting though?
He incited the crowd, so he encouraged the crowd to do his bidding, which was one hand up in the sky, one hand up in the sky. Everybody put your hand in the sky.
Okay.
Two hands in the sky, two hands in the sky. I want to hear this motherfucking ground shake.
Okay. I mean, I guess so, yeah.
And that was when an ambulance was coming down the middle aisle.
Okay.
To help one of the injured.
Like
when you put a black and white filter on something, normally, you're doing it to make your thing more sad, right? Because that's something that is used in media, that's used in films. You could use that on TikTok or on Instagram, whatever, to convey feeling sad. That I'm such a lonely guy, blah blah blah. You could use
And
black and white filter to do that.
What's wrong with that?
So employing the use of a tool like that when you're making an apology just seems bad mind, because it's almost like you're trying to make people...
bad mind? Them YouTubers that be crying on camera and then doing 2-3 hours of editing on their face crying, fam.
And people address that
it
too. Welcome back to Sliders Pod. This is your boy Mo. And today I'm joined by...
Your boy Tom, out here on the streets. It's one of them ones.
Okay, who's tough? Find out on the pod, aka the champion. I like this. You got Tom on the right, aka the lumberjack. Let's go.
And today we're going to be a bit serious. Slightly.
Ah, damn. You've now set the tone.
And the reason that we're being serious is because on November the 5th, it was a Friday night in Houston. Travis Scott was hosting an event, Astroworld. Okay. And during his performance, the crowd surged. This was a crowd of about 50,000 people. It surged forward. People were trampled, couldn't breathe. Some passed out. And at this time of recording, 10 people have died due to injuries suffered.
No trigger warning?
At the concert. Trigger warning death.
Bit late now.
Yeah, it's a bit late now, but trigger warning.
Can you be triggered by that?
Yeah,
I think it's like
certain words could be triggers.
It's like a traumatic death.
Nah, I don't think you trigger warning that shit. I was reading bare newspapers. They didn't trigger warning me, fam.
Bro,
to be fair,
do the thing.
To be fair, I think you only need like trigger warnings when it's like essay or some shit like that.
Yeah.
No. Like trigger warning.
I swear you trigger warning when it could be something that someone else has suffered through.
Can be triggered by
they can be triggered.
Yeah,
by.
But the word death could be a trigger word for people.
I don't think so.
No, I'm sorry.
I don't know about that. Bro.
You lot are heartless, fam.
Nah, sorry.
Anyway, trigger warning from me. Mo might just say some shit.
Well, it's too late. I've already said it. Haven't I? Tough?
Yeah.
But anyway, so members of a densely packed crowd, they surged towards the stage and were crushed against each other at the music festival. And what we want to discuss today is a multitude of things, but it all surrounds the main guy, Travis Scott. Okay? Was his good friend Tafno, remember? Jack.
Yeah. Sent him a pair of shoes last week.
Cactus Jack.
So the first question I have for all you guys is, how responsible was Travis Scott for what happened that night?
Partially responsible. Not for the thing occurring.
This nigga's mumbling through his
sorry.
hoodie. You with the worst audio levels. You want to be mumbling through your hoodie.
I think he's partially responsible. Not for it occurring in the first place, but for it getting as far as it did. I do think he's partially responsible. So, yeah.
I don't think he's responsible for the crowd surge. Travis Scott isn't responsible for the crowd surging at his concert.
So what I said is how responsible was Travis Scott for the events that unfolded that night?
0% tough?
So what I'm trying to get from you, Taff, because he's partially responsible.
He's
so
not responsible for the crowd surging.
I'm asking for all the events that night, Taff.
All the events?
Yeah, because 10 people
in the crowd surge.
Well, 8 people died during the crowd surge.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure the crowd surge encompasses
of the
injuries that they sustained.
So doesn't the crowd surge encompass everything that happened?
No, I wouldn't
think
say so.
No, there's crowd rushing the...
Because the crowd rushing the stage,
There's
that can
people
happen.
rushing the event as well, which is why it was over capacity. So
Wait, so
No,
are you
wait.
saying he's responsible for the individual instances in the crowd surge?
No, what I'm trying to ordain from you, Taff, okay,
Yeah.
is I've said what happened that night on a very basic level.
Yeah.
Crowd surged, people were trampled,
Yeah.
people got hurt, concert went on into a
Okay.
certain point when it was stopped, by which point 8 people are dead, 2 people later died of those injuries they sustained, and there's still people in hospital now. What I'm trying to get from you is Travis Scott at all responsible for the way that the event was handled, for the people that got hurt? Is there any responsibility he had towards the people that got hurt? You can stick with 0 if that's your,
Yeah.
All right.
Now I know why Taff
This guy's-
has
I
been
have-
defending Travis Scott tooth and nail.
I have my
recently.
reasons.
I know.
have
I
my
know why.
reasons.
It's because the fucking his shoes were delayed. That's why. Isn't
We
it?
need to address the mumble rapper.
It's because your shoes were delayed.
Tom
I'm not
decided to
mumbling,
mumble
bro.
today.
I'm just saying it's because his shoes are delayed. That's why he's trying to defend, man. Still,
Okay. So now I want to go into, because we had a poll, and so we've got some responses where people share their own opinions. Okay.
Okay. Well, are we going to reply to the?
Yeah, you can
Okay,
give your
yeah,
opinion
nice.
on those opinions.
Just share it.
So someone said he's constantly inciting the crowd. I must have known they were injured but didn't stop.
I agree that Travis Scott is hype. I agree with that point that Travis Scott hypes up the crowd a lot. And then what was the second part?
Actually, they said incited the crowd. So please don't try and spin it and make it positive.
do you know,
I'm not making it positive.
I mean, from hype to
Don't-
incite.
Oh, sorry.
don't
Yeah.
paraphrase, Taff.
In inciting, but what do you mean by inciting though?
He incited the crowd, so he encouraged the crowd to do his bidding, which was 1 hand up in the sky, 1 hand up in the sky. Everybody put your hand in the sky.
Okay.
2 hands in the sky, 2 hands in the sky. I want to hear this motherfucking ground shake.
Okay. I mean, I guess so. Yeah.
And that was when an ambulance was coming down the middle aisle
Okay.
to help one of the injured.
All right. And then what was the second part of that statement?
They said he must have known that they were injured but didn't stop. What's your
He did
opinion
know
on
there
that?
were people injured. He saw the ambulances.
Yeah.
And
And he didn't stop. So,
No,
what's
he
your
didn't.
opinion on that? Should he have stopped?
that's down to his judgment.
Yeah,
I
so-
personally would have stopped. But what I'm talking about, his judgment, yeah.
Oh, so can you not question his judgment?
I'm saying, nigga, why didn't you stop? I agree. Like,
So,
Exactly.
So is he not at fault for his poor judgment?
I wouldn't put him at fault for his pure judgment because I have reasons as to why that shouldn't have happened.
What shouldn't
and
have happened?
there were people that have the authority to stop that shouldn't have stopped it, that trumped Travis Scott. But are we finishing? Do you want us to go into our individual points, or are we finishing?
No, don't worry, Taff. Don't worry. We can move on to the next witness. Someone else has made, because I see you're itching to defend him.
Oh, I'm not itching to defend.
Okay. Someone else said we shouldn't hold him responsible. Morally, he should acknowledge and help.
Yes, I agree with that. What do you think?
I mean, morally, he falls through on every single quota. This guy did a shocking job. But in terms of responsibility, he's not only the main performer, the headline performer, he's also the host of the event. And so I do think you have to look at him to a certain extent as responsible for the event. So I'm not saying that he's the head and he meant for everyone to get hurt. Of course not. But when you are the head of an event and you're hosting, certain blame does fall on you. Certain responsibility does fall on you. And especially considering the fact that he was on stage at the point that this stuff was happening. So he's not behind the scenes. He's on stage. You can see an ambulance coming down the crowd. He can see the flashing lights of the numerous ambulances that were in the that were on the sidelines attending to people. I mean, there's videos of this guy doing the robot. Wow, people are getting CPR. That's all I'll say. Surely he should have stopped. And he could have stopped the event at that point. Yes, you're right, Taff. There are people above him. I've heard that the police told Live Nation, or trying to get Live Nation to stop the event, and Live Nation was also hosting the event in partnership with Travis Scott. Live Nation refused. That's what I've seen online, that Live Nation refused. But even still, Travis does have the power, did have the power to stop the event, which he did not. But yeah. Someone else said, yes, he is responsible. However, he shouldn't be solely accountable as he's not the only one involved, which I'm sure we all agree with.
Yeah, we. Tom, any?
You agree with that, Taff?
What's your opinion?
I agree with that. I'm asking if you agree with that.
Yeah, is that there were people that should have been.
No.
responsible. Can you read
that
it again?
statement.
So it said, yes, he is responsible. However, he shouldn't be solely accountable as he's not the only one involved.
Oh, yeah, no.
So you agree with you don't agree with the beginning. So you don't agree with the
Yeah.
fact that he's responsible, but you do agree there's other people involved. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right, next question, guys. Okay, I guess we've already
Are those all
determined.
the polls? Or are you gonna...
That's not all the responses on the poll now.
Oh.
No, but we'll get into some of the other ones later because they relate to what I'm going to touch upon later. So now you guys need to. I'm looking at you personally, Tap, and I've asked this question.
Mhm.
Could Travis Scott have done more that could have potentially resulted in less injuries or deaths
While he was on stage.
while he was on stage?
Could he have done more to prevent injuries?
Could he have taken certain actions that aren't completely unrealistic, you know, that in the realm of possibility that would have potentially resulted in less people getting injured or dying?
I think anything he would have done would have involved instructing the crowd.
Yeah.
If we're trying to be realistic in terms of like what he can do, it's not like he's jumping into the crowd to physically do anything.
Yeah, of course.
So if we're talking about him verbally instructing the crowd,
Yep.
I say he did it, and there's numerous pieces of footage that serve as evidence of him exercising that ability.
Okay.
Why
So
are
you're
you
saying-
looking at me like that? like I'm some lost cause or like I'm dead.
So what you're saying is he did the best of his ability. He did the best of what he could do.
Yeah. And the main reason I say that too is because in that scenario,
Yeah.
I believe a lot of things can be going into that person's head. Like, I'm just not thinking it's as simple as let me stop the show.
Yeah.
Because in his head, from what I can see on the outside, he's big artist. There's a lot of money riding on this. He's contractually obligated to do certain things in the concert in terms of like, he can't, for example, leave the concert early without certain reasons, you get me? Like there's certain things in place that he needs to meet, that Live Nation needs to meet. And, there's 50,000 people. So emotional as well for him. He has 50,000 fans that are there. So it's, there's all those things in your head where it's like, at what point should you stop? Because like I said, there's the money, millions, 50,000 people. If one person faints, should I stop the show? Should I, I'm just wondering, his decisions aren't as simple as someone got hurt, end the show. It's not as simple as people are making out to be like, he should have stopped the show, Because then it's like, okay, cool. You stop the show, but then what about the rest of the thousands of other people there? And then another safety thing is I was looking at, police were talking and crowd safety experts were talking where it's like, you have to be careful how you stop certain shows.
Yeah.
Or even nights out sometimes. Like you'd see it in Newcastle, maybe Halloween when there's loads of people out, that when everyone gets kicked out at the same time, people just start acting wild, jumping on cars, fighting, because there's a huge crowd of people and some people get excited. So now, let's say he stops a concert an hour early, that means people were expecting to finish at a certain time. Some people are frustrated. So now you have 40,000, 50,000 people that are frustrated with the things not going to plan. And this is 50,000 tickets, people that had tickets. I don't know how many other people came in there illegally. So let's just stick with 50,000 because I don't want to assume. Okay. But so 50,000 people upset, all exiting at the same time. You get me? That can go wrong in itself if they're not satisfied with them stopping the show. Because he could easily imagine he went back on stage and said, so 2 people fainted, an ambulance came through, guys, we'll have to stop the show. How do you, make sure people receive that well and keep the crowd calm for them to leave and be respectful? Because you can imagine a bunch of rowdy teenagers saying, nah, fuck it, man. I paid I came from that state. And you're telling me I have to go because 2 people. Nah, man, I'm not having this. You get me? So how do you make sure the crowd doesn't get violent? Because this time the crowd was in a panic. Now imagine if a crowd's angry. You get me? Where people want to act out this time. This was the crowd psychology is different when people are actually in a panic versus when they're, looking to do damage to things. So those are the decisions and the consequences that he was facing in that moment in time, where I believe people crucifying him for not stopping the show, saying he could have done more, he didn't stop the show, it was his neglect. He shouldn't have been put in that position to have to be thinking about stopping the show.
But that's kind of part of his job. When you're up on stage, crowd control is part of your job.
It's something that you kind of learn to do as a performer.
Is he not a seasoned vet?
Like it's not even like it's his first. It's not even like his first time on stage. Like my man's been touring for a whole minute, bro.
You guys say this term crowd control like it's mind control, like it's guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed.
He has crowd control, bro. It's not guaranteed.
You've already,
like,
you already said he does a good job at. Your words were he does a good job at hyping up. He controls not. Again, it's not mind control. It's not like everyone's following the same thing.
Yeah.
But he knows how to perform and how to hype the crowd up in a certain way so they react in a certain way.
Yeah, but it's very easy to excite people when they're already excited. I mean...
Okay, so just to rebuttal the points that you mentioned already.
His hype just hypes them up even further. Like, if he jumps on stage, that's crowd control, isn't it? Because everyone's loving him jumping on stage. Like, it's not this crazy thing that he has. He just knows how to perform, which is his job.
Okay, so you said that if he stopped the concert when, let's say, there were 2 people that were passed out, then what about the other 49,000 plus people that are there? 50,000
the 2 people was an example. I know it's not the exact amount.
Exactly. So my thing is, if it's one person that passes out, I'm not saying you necessarily need to stop the concert, because you can temporarily put a concert on pause, stop your performance. Hey guys, and there's numerous examples of many artists doing this. Adele for one. Niall Horan from One Direction.
What's Adele's situation?
Adele's situation in one of her concerts, she was doing like a series of performances over a couple of nights. At one of them, someone in the crowd passed out, or got ill to a certain extent. So the next performance, someone else did, and because of the previous event, she was paying more attention, and so she stopped performing for the time being. Directed stewards across to the person that was in trouble, and then after they were being dealt with by the appropriate authorities, she continued the performance. Yeah, and I'm not saying that's an easy thing to do, okay? But what I will say is that pausing the concert is not the same as stopping a concert completely. You're not necessarily throwing all 50,000 people out onto the streets as soon as you stop a concert, or pause a concert, sorry. And then if you do need to stop a concert, which I think you should have done, because it wasn't just 2 people passing out. These were people getting trampled across the front of the stage, to the point where there's numerous ambulances, which is not a normal event, where the police are declaring it a mass casualty event, so people have died. At that point, I do think it should run through the mind that, hey, this thing needs to be stopped. Now, should you choose to stop an event, so safety-wise, I do agree with you. If you can't just if you move all those people out of the concert, there's going to be like a flare-up. There's going to be a response. Yeah. But that's not necessarily what you're doing. You're not immediately kicking all 50K people out. You're telling all 50K people there, yo, guys, something mad has seriously gone on. There are people that are getting hurt here badly, seriously. If he knows that people have died at this point, he can say, people have died. Okay, what I need you guys to do is everyone to calm down as much as you can. The thing is, while he's talking, they're gonna be listening. Unless they're high on some shit, they're gonna be listening. I'm not saying they're gonna be happy, but they're gonna listen. Yeah. At which point, the security that was there, even though, as we saw from people breaking in earlier, it's pretty lackluster and shit like that. Yeah.
Now security did bits though. There was some clips where security was tossing people,
but some people they were letting run past them
to like a different entrance, and that security was weak on that side.
It was. Yeah. Imagine the security could have ended up allowing people out bit by bit if they chose to. These are the kind of things I think should be involved in concert regulation and shit like that. But we don't even need to get into that. I think at the end of the day, my personal opinion is that he could have done more. I feel like he could have stopped it. Yeah, I think he could have spoken to the crowd and said, yo, guys, it's getting a bit too mad. We're going to pause the concert for now. If we can move forward, I'll let you know. But if we can't, then it's going to have to be it.
So are you making that answer based on the information that you have of the videos with the ambulance? Because the example you gave before was just, the hypothetical of if he knew people were dying. But he did know people were being carried away in ambulances.
Yeah.
That doesn't, confirm that he knew people were dying. So
yeah, I'm not confirming that
he could have done more with the information you believe he had of the ambulance. Because we don't know whether or not he knew people were dying and the mass casualties. We don't know if that information got to him, but we did see video footage
of the ambulance.
So are you saying he could have done more with that information?
Yeah, so I'm not going off of any information he could have got through someone speaking to him, because I'm not sure if anyone ever did speak to him while he was up on stage. What I'm referring to is just completely visual information. So the ambulance coming down the middle aisle, so the bit they had for people to walk if they needed to, and then also the numerous ambulances that were on the side that he would have seen because it's dark, there's flashing lights, red and blue, Then he knows there's more than just one ambulance there. That's already a problem. At that point, that's already a problem to me. Why is that happening at my concert? That's not normal. But yeah, that's my own opinion.
I have a few stats.
Go ahead.
I don't want them to go to waste.
No, go ahead. Bring them up. Bring them up.
Okay, so 50,000 people.
Yep.
Earlier on, when people were passing out, there was 500 police on site.
Okay.
And the event themselves, Live Nation, had 755 members, private security. There was 22 medical personnel, 2 ER physicians, and 5 ambulances at the event. Maybe more were called on because the fire department did show up later on in the event.
And you said 22 medical staff.
Yep. For 50,000
people.
All I'm saying is, I haven't even got to my point, like the points I want to make as to why it's not Travis's fault. But you just let me know when. But next.
Did you have any more stats or?
Those are all the key points.
The key points.
Those are just the numbers of how many people were there in certain things.
Okay. And now this is a bit of a sticky question, I will admit. So before I move into this, I just want to mention a few names. Okay. Danish Baig, Madison Dubisky, Jacob Juranek, Franco Patino, John Hilgert, Brianna Rodriguez, Axel Acosta, Rudy Pena, and those were the initial 8 victims. Then a couple of days later, it was Barty Shahani. And then finally, the 10th victim is Ezra Blount, who was only 9 years old. Okay. Rest in peace to all those victims, and prayers to their families, of course. So this next question I have is, does any responsibility lie with the crowd/audience? And this is just a general question surrounding that question. Is this an age, or is this a time in society, in human history, where people like to think first or act first and make a scapegoat of someone else, e.g. Travis later?
Could you ask that again? The question again?
The second one.
Yeah, that question just now.
Yeah, so is this an age where people like to think or act first and make a scapegoat of someone else later? So the scapegoat in this case would be Travis, if you believe he's a scapegoat.
100%. And even the other question asked about, are the people in the crowd responsible?
Yep.
That one is a tricky one. So I watched quite a bit of crowd psychology videos on that.
Yep.
And they said in that thing, that this was a crowd crush, and they said in a crowd where people are going mad, what happens is people mimic. So if people panic, other people will panic.
Yep.
And they said, the sort of an answer to what you said, they said the best way to stop casualties in a crowd is if you start helping people and not running off and panicking. Because if you're in a crowd and you see someone helping someone, you're going to copy that and say, okay, cool, let me help. And then it spreads. Like behavior is it's like an infection. Like it spreads. Once you see someone do it, everyone else will do it. Yeah. But if people start panicking and running in different directions, that's when casualties happen. And another thing is a lot of people faint in concerts, primarily in the front because of the density of the crowd. So in concerts, everyone moves in one direction towards the stage. Everyone's pushing to be as close as possible to the artist, which makes the front the worst area to be in, fam, because the back, no one's trying to go to the back like that. So there's room, there's space. You can comfortably and breathe and enjoy with your own personal space in the back. But in the front, that's where a lot of fainting happens. And they find that people, this is just general information, so just so you know when you want to be safe in a crowd or anything, they find that people don't actually, most of the time, lives aren't lost when people get trampled on. It's usually when people are standing, because in the front, there's so many people packed together that you can't breathe. That you just suffocate while standing up. So already in any concert, any concert that's like a festival or anything that has standing seating, because that's another thing they were talking about. Because it was a standing event, it made it even worse. Versus, people like Adele, they usually perform where people are sitting down most of the time.
That is true.
So when things are going mad, it's less active. There's less movement happening.
Yeah.
You get me?
Okay, that's fair enough. I actually
But and the other part about the do we act first and then look for a scapegoat after?
Yeah.
Was that in referral to the people not taking responsibility for their actions in the crowd?
Yeah, in the crowd.
And that's the thing with crowds. In our heads, when we're in a crowd, it stops being an individual's act. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So people are more reckless. That's why during riots, people just move mad because it's like, no one's going to find me. It's us as a group doing the mad thing. So it's like, how does one take personal responsibility in a situation where there is no personal?
Yeah, where it's practically mayhem.
It's a group thing. You get me? And because it's a group thing, it helps other people have peace of mind to know that, I was there, but I was on the other side when so-and-so got accepted. So it wasn't me. Or I was like one person behind that person when it happened. So it wasn't me. Or I'm not even sure if it was me. So people that might have been responsible don't even know if they did it or not.
That's true.
Like, how many of the people in the crowd even know or recognize it? How many even choose to believe it was them? You get me? So it's hard to say the scapegoat.
It's true. To highlight a personal story, obviously not my personal story, but the story concerning the 10th and youngest victim, Ezra Blount. He was 9 years old, which I'm sure will raise questions for some of our viewers, wondering why a 9-year-old was at this event in the first place. But he was there with his dad, and he was being carried on his dad's shoulders, actually. And the dad actually said that they were at the back of the event, or towards the back of the event anyway, because it's safer, like Tav said earlier. Although people weren't trying to be there for the most part because, run towards search towards the front of the stage to see the performer, maybe touch his hand, some shit. People are like that nowadays. Yeah. However, when the crowd surged forward, the dad and young Ezra were pushed along with the crowd as well. So even if you're not at the front exactly, people at the back trying to get to the front can move you forward.
Yeah. And that's what they say. There's unidirectional crowd movement, and then there's turbulent where you're going any directions.
Yeah.
Unidirectional is worse because it's like a wave.
Exactly.
It just takes you down. But if it's people running in all directions, that means like the physics of it is that there's enough space because no one's moving in a herd. Yeah. It's people are going that way, that way, that way. So you have a little bit of space for you to sort of navigate your way through.
Yeah. So. After surging forward, they actually both fell over, at which point the father passed out, was knocked out anyway. And then when he woke up, didn't have recollection of where his son was. His son had to be placed under a medically induced coma. And after a couple of days, I don't have the exact time, he ended up passing away. So although you may question why a 9-year-old was there in the first place, I would say, and my personal opinion is that the dad was trying to do the safest thing in terms of trying to still have fun with the kid while keeping him safe at the back. But like Tav said, unidirectional movement, crowd surge towards the front. It must be the worst feeling for the dad anyway, because he thought he was doing the best by his kid, but also allowing him to have his fun.
Yeah.
And you end up knocking out while your child gets seriously hurt. Because you can only imagine how a 9-year-old kid being so small can get... Yeah. If grown adults are getting lost under people's feet when they're getting trampled on and stood on all sorts, you can only imagine how that could affect a kid as well. That's even smaller.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay.
Sorry, I just wanted to say, for the lawsuit against Travis Scott,
yep.
Initially, apparently it was filed at 750 million.
Is it 2 billion?
Right now, apparently there's a new lawsuit being filed by the US, what's it called, district attorney? Or something like that. Either way, the new lawsuit is being filed at 2 billion, and it says the lawsuit isn't just against Travis Scott; it's against Live Nation as well.
Live Nation are in trouble.
Yeah,
serious trouble. We'll talk about them.
You have some information on their past events
on Live Nation? Yep.
Yeah, because that's just my point then. I'll just say what I need to say.
Go ahead.
The reason why I don't believe Travis Scott is responsible for what happened at his event is because he's not an event organizer. He worked with them, hired them, but he is not. He's an artist that wants them to organize this event for him, and he's the headline act. It's not Live Nation, then Travis Scott. It's Travis Scott Live Nation, because Live Nation isn't pulling in the audience. It's him pulling in his audience. That's why his name's there. He had them do it because that's what they do. They're a company that for however many years, 20 plus years, Live Nation's been doing their thing, hosting events. They should have experience in these key points of, managing risk, crowd control, crowd safety, you get me, security. They've had a lot of experience in this because this is what they do. Travis Scott is an artist, fam. And when we talk about, to go back about the artist crowd control is just, saying some stuff, everyone's excited, but everyone's already excited. Like, that's not really crowd control, like, where it's like you're now telling people what to do and you're silencing them. Crowd control, I mean, could you say Obama has crowd control because people are listening to him talk or make a speech because people are already quiet?
I think that's different, Taff.
No, I'm talking about people are already in a state. So for you to just add on to that, it's not like you're doing anything major in
No, but
anything.
we can definitely say for a fact, Travis, for one, he has a history of inciting crowds. In 2017, he was arrested for...
and I think in 2015 as well.
And 2015 as well, exactly. He was arrested for inciting the crowd because it's something to do with like public mayhem or something along those lines. Yeah, which means that he's done similar stuff before, although that stuff hasn't resulted in 10 deaths like we saw on Friday, November the 5th. And what's important is there are plenty of videos going around on the internet after the event. And one of them was when Travis was crowd surfing and someone stole his shoe. And then he got picked up out of the crowd by security, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The person that stolen his shoe, he was obviously berating that person. Go get that nigga. Yeah. Got his shoe back. Beat that nigga up. Meanwhile, there's no singing going on. There's no performing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. The area around where he'd been crowd surfing, very small area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was obviously getting active and hype. But the rest of the crowd were pretty much bemused and confused. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't want to say silent, but they weren't on the vibe they were on previously. And that is that is Travis's control of the crowd.
Is that control of the crowd?
It's control. It's control of the crowd.
Because there was an absence of the performance, people were just confused.
Yeah,
that's not him controlling.
Yeah, but exactly. So that's even an absence of the performance. Exactly.
That was more passive.
Exactly. So imagine that. So that was an absence of the performance.
That was
and the crowd and
passive,
and most of the crowd. It was passive.
Tough.
Yeah, exactly. If he stopped singing, they would stop. They wouldn't.
Because
it's not like they're going to get
confused.
hype.
They don't know what's happening
but
next.
They're not going to get hype.
In control. They're just looking.
Exactly. So imagine you're saying this yourself. You're literally backing me because you're literally saying
I'm saying
when he does nothing.
You're
saying when he does nothing.
Tough, in my opinion, I think you're underestimating the amount of power a performer has over
especially
a crowd.
Travis Scott.
Because as you said, when you're in like a crowd like that, you're not thinking with an individual mindset. Mm-hmm. It's like everyone's thinking, everyone's being controlled. If it's a good performer, they know how to handle the crowd. They can control the crowd. Like, imagine like the performance like the conductor, and the crowd is just like an orchestra. The conductor is just telling them what to do. Like again, like the way Mo was saying, man's on about two hands in the sky. You think they're thinking before they put the two hands in the sky?
They all followed him when he said to do that as well. You know?
They will do. Like,
one hand is sky.
If you're a good performer and you're a seasoned performer, you can control the crowd and you can make them behave how you want to behave. In the same way, it's like. You
can make them do mindless actions like that.
Exactly, but tough.
So mindless action is also, everybody, can you quickly go check around you? Can you help other people that are around you? That's not hard to do, Tough.
Tough, and again, you say
it
the way
depends what state they're in.
That's easy. Don't stop with the state thing, man.
Tough, and you say the way they hype people up. Because thing is, Tough, they're not even at the same level of hype the whole concert. More time than not. The what's called the levels of hype, like the crowd has, goes up and down according to his whim. They don't act unless it's one of them ones that, the way he said he incites them, that's pretty much his job as a performer. Not going to say. His job is to kind of control the crowd's mood in accordance to the music that he's playing.
Yeah.
There's parts of the song where you won't be as hype, but especially the way he like kind of controls them in accordance to when a drop of a song is gonna occur, or when a certain verse in a song is gonna occur. He does have that ability, so I do think that you're really underestimating the way he can control a crowd, and like just putting it up to, oh yeah, it's one of them ones. They're already hype. I think you're really underestimating what.
Even with the song, it's a song that everyone knows. So the drop, everyone's anticipating the drop. Like in a song, let's say there's a bit of, it's like Mo Bamba, yeah, where it goes fuck, shit, bitch. Like if people already know that's coming, and then they know when to pause. So when that little window of silence, that's because everyone understands that this part we're gonna be silent.
Guys, hold on. What I was gonna say is that tough. You're talking about Mo Bamba and that. It's one of them ones that you can't say if he was not as hype as he is when he's shouting that in crowd, that the crowd will behave the same way. You can't say that it will be the same. It won't.
Mm-hmm.
They behave according to the way he's behaving. That's it. So I just think you're underestimating it. But you're gonna say something about Live Nation.
Yeah, it's not wholly dependent on Travis Scott, the way the crowd behaves. However, his behavior does contribute.
Okay. So earlier I asked like the incidents that Live Nation has done. Have you got those now?
There's better.
Okay.
Really?
There's better. They're terrible. I'm sorry.
So there's a long history. Can you name us like one or two?
I can name more than one or two. Bro.
Just give us a quick. Just be quick.
Okay. So Live Nation. So the Ariana Grande concert in Manchester, 2017. That was a Live Nation event. Mm-hmm. Now that was a terrorist attack.
Is that one even worth mentioning though?
It's still worth mentioning.
I'm talking about normal concert conditions.
No,
that is
because they say that's a security failing. They're saying that's a security failing.
To be fair, it's one of them ones that it is a security failing, but it's not something that once it started they could have prevented. It was one of them when once the bomb went off. Yeah,
but even then, they're a concert.
Was there
Are they trained?
No,
to
but they were
handle?
even saying the way that it was although I don't know whether that's on Live Nation, but it was a Live Nation event. The way that people on site responded wasn't quick enough. Maybe lives could have been saved had they been more coordinated.
Who knows?
But then again, I don't want to blame. I'm not going to look at Live Nation like you should expect terrorist attacks to happen because that's crazy.
Because like an airport, fam, you don't leave your bags lying around in the airport because in 2 minutes people are there to inspect that unattended item. You get me? So in a concert, are they trained the same way? Like I don't think the Ariana Grande one in this context, anyways. Like
that's fair enough.
It's a black swan.
Okay, well here we go. So in 2011, there was a stage collapse in Indiana in which 7 people were killed and 61 were injured. Okay,
Live Nation.
That was Live Nation, and the company settled with victims for $50 million. Okay. In 2013, there was an incident where a staffer that was working for them suffered a brain damage after a forklift tipped over the booth he'd been working in. And a jury awarded him $101 million. Okay? And they've also been cited for safety violations on multiple occasions, including an incident, in 2018, where a Live Nation employee was hit on the head by a 6-foot steel metal post that tipped over. Okay? Okay? And what we can see, just through those couple events, so even if you disregard the Ariana Grande one, you can see that there's a certain disregard for security and protocol when it comes to Live Nation and the way they deal. Okay? They've paid out $50 million on one occasion, $101 million on another occasion. Let's look at how much they make.
Okay.
So their third quarter, they reported $2.7 billion in revenue.
Okay.
That's crazy.
It is.
That's a lot of money.
It is. And is that profit?
That's revenue. I don't know if I can't say no, that's profit. That's just revenue. But that's still a crazy amount of money. Yeah.
It is, but once it's gone to where it needs to go for maintenance and shit, who knows? Like, I want to know profit. Like, if you can give us the profit, then we can talk about that.
I don't have the profit
because they have employees to pay in it.
I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah, like if they have employees to pay, it's like they make a lot, but they also spend a lot too.
Okay.
But so the reason I don't think Travis Scott's responsible for what happened at that event is because Live Nation themselves, they are experts in this. This is their field of expertise, fam. So a few people that work for this company called Crowd Safety, there's very few companies that deal in crowd safety in concerts because it's such a niche thing that you need, you get me?
Yeah.
Like there aren't that many people. So they were, critiquing the layout of the concert. So some of them were saying the layout was bad because it was standing room only. This means that there needs to be precautions to reduce crowd density and to make clear pathways for the crowd. were there clear pathways for the crowd? Have you guys seen the layout for the event?
No, I swear it was just like 2 blocks of where people could be standing.
That
Yeah.
it's think of it like it was divided in 4, and then in the middle of that cross, those were the aisles.
Those are the aisles. Oh, so
Yeah.
it was 4. So it was 4 blocks, like 4 triangles, 4 squares, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, 4 sections, and then aisles separating those sections.
Like a window, kind of.
Like a window, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah. They also though said there's people that approve that, who's the risk assessor, fam?
Okay,
Genuinely.
and onto that. See, that's the thing where it gets tricky.
Sorry, can I
Yeah.
just interject?
yeah,
I
go
got the
ahead.
profits
Mhm.
that you asked for. I think it says the Live Nation Entertainment gross profit for the quarter ending September 30th, 2021 was 0.729 billion, 1,268.17% increase from year over year.
So about 700 million they made in profit.
Yeah. I wonder what the Live Nation stock's saying now.
It's going down.
It's actually.
It's going down. It's slid down.
It is actually going down.
Hey, that's
But I think-
everyone knows that's when you should buy, fam.
But it's actually
You're actually terrible.
What do you mean? It's
You're
true.
terrible.
but anyway,
These
for the-
stock niggas don't care, fam. They're just gonna say, "All right, let's buy." It's gonna get back up next year, fam.
But for the Live Nation Entertainment gross profit for the 12 months ending, so like 12 months before September 30th, 2021, was 1.252 billion, 11.19% increase from the year over. And I had one other thing sorry.
No worries, Tom.
Yeah.
There was one other thing that the stock prices for Live Nation has decreased by 1.71%.
Yeah, meh.
Well, yeah. The thing about who approves this kind of stuff, Tav, because I
Yeah.
looked into this because I was like, is there any like actually official crowd regulation protocol that any companies
And
or
it
artists
was
have to
missing.
adhere to?
Yeah.
Okay. And what I need to say about this, because America's a tap place just because there's 50 states.
Mm-hmm.
All 50 states have different rules.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
There's
this was
federal
Texas.
rules. Yeah, this is in Texas. There's
Yeah.
federal rules, and federal rules they apply everywhere. But then state rules apply only in states. But then, even when you come to states now, the land, so NRG Park, is owned by a private owner. Yeah, I can see. Thank you, Tom.
Oh, I found the picture
of
of
the,
the layout.
Yeah. So the NRG Park, which is where it was being hosted, is owned by a private owner. And then as soon as you've leased it, yeah, and the owner allows you to lease it, and he's gotten a permit as well, then it's up to you. Like, you can do what you want. That's what, for me, that was
That's
what was
on the
tapped.
land.
That's on the land. For me, that's what makes it not so great. Like, I'm just going to call it tapped politely, only because there's no hardcore, you need to have, if you have a crowd of this amount.
So it's not like a venue like a House of Smiths where they say
Exactly.
you can't have more than 1,000 people in this building.
So if I give you the O2 Arena in London, I'm telling you, I don't know what the numbers are capacity-wise, but if I tell you 40k people max can be in there, and of course you know that there's seating in there, blah blah blah. Let's say there's safe standing seating in certain standing in certain areas. You've got those numbers. Those can't be breached. Go and do what you will.
Mm-hmm.
Now look at NRG Park.
And if you breach those numbers, guess what? It
You're-
gets shut down in that event. Let's say you're performing, no matter
Exactly.
who you are performing, yeah. If you breach certain protocols, legal protocols, you are getting shut down. No one cares how much money you paid or partnership, this, that, and the other.
Exactly.
If certain things are breached, no one cares about your say so. It's getting shut down.
Exactly.
And that maybe explains why Travis Scott wasn't told or who knows, you get me. But with the Travis Scott thing, if there's certain protocols breached, even if it wasn't a capacity protocol that they had in place, if let's say 10,000, if Travis Scott knew that, maybe not even Travis Scott, if the people who have the power, and apparently they refer to it as a red card, where there's a group of people with this red card that says, yo, we can stop the show, like a group of us. Travis Scott could be in that group as well, you get me. And now you have to ask yourself, who had that information in that select group of people?
Yeah.
I personally don't believe Travis Scott had that information in that group of people. But what about the other group, or the other people in there? Did they have that information? Because they went on stage. Their job is to receive information on what's going on in the area.
Yeah.
You get me? Travis Scott, he can only work with what's in front of him and da-da-da-da-da. But the other people, they know what's going on outside with the police. They know how many people are in the hospital. All this information is flying, but unless they were neglecting it, You get me? Unless they were absent. So what were they doing? Those red card holders.
I know.
You get me?
Probably thinking about the bag, to be honest.
Also, there's another thing too about just managing the crowd is that crowd density. There should be cameras in place, or there should be trained people on site to see or detect this. There's people whose jobs, you said Travis Scott visually, he should have seen something was going wrong. Well, there's people that should be there that are trained to detect when a crowd is moving not the correct way. People that are trained to listen out for certain things going on in the crowd to make sure things aren't going mad.
Are there people
Where
that
were
have
they?
those jobs? Is that like an actual job?
That's their job.
concert?
Like, so what they do is they measure crowd density, and they say a crowd surge happens when it's 6 to 10 people per square meter. So if there's 6 to 10 people in a per square meter, that is a crowd surge. That means that there's too many people, you can't move your arms.
Yeah.
That's when things are peak. They also say when you look into a crowd, you have to sort of see how people are moving. So if people are swaying side to side and you feel like it's not by choice, that's when you know there's too many people in the crowd, because that's when people are their balance is getting shifted. You get me? When people can't move their hands, that's another thing. And then again, hearing out for stuff. I think, Tom, you mentioned the other day that when an artist is performing, they have stuff that blocks out their
it's like
ears.
not completely, but it's kind of like to reduce the noise that the crowd has. So like when people say you should have heard people scream,
Yeah.
sometimes it can be very difficult.
Yeah,
Because first of all, most artists do have like these kind of earpieces type thing that kind of reduce the noise. Because deep how loud 50,000 people are.
Yeah.
Do you think man were able to concentrate and perform if he can
Yeah.
fully just hear
it
50,000 people?
There was a section of people screaming at him to stop the show, and I saw the video. Like, they're screaming "stop the show," and my man's like setting up, saying, "Okay, yo, next song." Da 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 da. Like, he isn't phased. Like, he's not even paying attention or thinking that people are saying anything. And that small group of people could have been drowned out by the other group of people that might have been hyped. Like, the crowd. Let's not get it twisted. The crowd wasn't all on the same page about
Yeah, that's
what
true.
should happen.
Some people were
here.
completely
oblivious
to what was
some
going on.
people
Yeah.
were high, some people like all those other things were going on. So it wasn't the crowd said this and then Travis Scott ignored everyone speaking. You get
To
me?
be fair, I think we're all on the same page about the fact that it's not his fault that it happened.
Of course not.
That it occurred in the first
There's
place.
the
that's
crowd
what I'm saying.
safety.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not him.
I think we're all on the same page. That's not his fault that it happened in the first place. Because I don't think or if it is, we don't have the information that proves that it is.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the only thing that we're disagreeing on right now is the fact that is he responsible for not stopping it a bit sooner as he could have? Because we're not saying that the rest of the people aren't accountable to, which we all agree that they are. There are other people accountable, which is why it's not just Travis Scott getting sued. It's the whole Live Nation company as well as Travis Scott getting sued. But it's the fact that, again, I think Mo's main point was the fact that he could have taken steps to stop it.
The concert ended 20 minutes early.
20 minutes, yeah. I read that.
Did he finish his set?
I think
Because I've heard reports say he did finish his set, but then
20 minutes early?
No, as in because was he the last set for the day?
No, so this is another thing that goes into what I was about to say about why it failed or why they shouldn't have done that. So for some reason in a crowd, when there's 50,000 people, they have to spread out the crowd. So that's why in wireless, there'll be different stages and they need to make sure that the crowd is spread out. So there's not a huge concentration of people. So again, to avoid crowd density, everyone's, in different locations. Travis Scott was the only person performing on stage. No other acts. That means that whole 50,000, all those 50,000 people were concentrated at him. So already too many people, crowd density is mad. And then you have to take into account the extra unaccounted for amount of people that entered in by forcing it, jumping through the fences. That could easily be maybe 3,000. You get me? The people that went through the fences.
Yeah.
You get me? So that also messes it up as well.
Fair enough.
And as far as stopping, I have the timeline of when things were going wrong.
Yeah.
So just to read this out for a bit, yeah. The Travis Scott performance was meant to go from 8:45 to 10:30, right? Travis Scott starts his performance at 9. 5 minutes into his performance, the crowd surge has already started. 5 minutes in, right? Mm-hmm. And then in less than 10 minutes, the group was already in distress. So I got this from this video on YouTube by this news people. that were basically tracking the event, and they basically used footage from Apple Live and a few Snapchat stories and 911 calls to sync up certain things, so to form a timeline of what was going on.
Yeah.
So at 9:25 on the Apple live stream, it showed Travis Scott stopping the concert and saying, "Yo, make sure he's good. He needs some help." Okay, and then he stopped 2 more times for the same reason. At 9:28, medics had to respond to someone lying down unresponsive. 9:30, Travis Scott pauses again for an ambulance. 9:32, there's a woman that hops onto this stand where there's a cameraman, and then she's asking the cameraman, "Yo, stop the concert." Da 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 da. Like, so I don't know what she was saying, but she was there trying to get help from the cameraman.
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah.
9:38, Houston PD now then declares it a mass casualty event at 9:38. 9:42, Travis stops the show to help another crowd member. So in total, they said he stopped the show 7 times. So it's documented that he was stopping the show at multiple occasions when he could to help and assist people, right? And then 9:55, an ambulance was blocked by a bunch of people. Like, they just hopped on the ambulance and just started doing nonsense. And then at an unknown time, apparently, this isn't yet confirmed, but apparently the police spoke to Live Nation organizers there and they agreed to stop the concert. However, it didn't end when they were told at 9:50, around between 9:55 and when the concert actually ended.
Yeah.
It didn't stop for some reason.
Probably the bag.
And then 10:10, Trav ends the show.
It's not crazy how much can happen in so little time.
Yeah. And people just saying, like, even at 4 p.m., people already rushing in. And at 4 p.m., I think 50 people were already down, fainted. You get me? At 4 p.m. So that's hours before Travis even starts his show. People are already going down. And to me, I think Live Nation was, neglecting a lot of information they're receiving. Or maybe, I don't know what's normal in concerts, for people to be fainting and how many injuries occur. Because remember, we said 22 medical workers, for 50,000 people.
Seems like
exactly
gross negligence.
At least 1,000 people are getting injured, fam. On a normal day, on a calm one, injured or fainting, fam. At least 1K. And you're telling me you got 22 and 5 ambulances.
I mean, what I'll say is that I watched a TikTok from a medical member that was there. And he said that the way they're trained is they're supposed to go around in groups of 2. And then, so the way he was describing the events on the night, he was like, so him and his his squad mate, they went towards someone they were heading towards an emergency. And then on their way to that emergency, they saw someone else in distress, but with no help over there. So they're not supposed to do this, but he said his squad mate went towards the original emergency and he stopped here. But then he didn't have a bag. They don't have more than one bag. So he only had one bag that was with his original squad mate. So he told the people there, okay, I'll be back. I need to get my stuff. To go get another bag. He goes back, gets another bag. On his way back to those people, he sees somebody else in distress. But this time there's one person there. Only a medical member there. He asked a medical member, "Oh, where's your squad mate? Oh, he's with somebody else that's already in trouble." Yeah. So these people, they're supposed to work in, let's say there's even 22 people. That's only really 11 teams that are supposed to be, and like regulation-wise, are supposed to be working as a duo. Yeah. So if you're hearing 22, that's really 11 groups that can only be at 11 separate events. But these people even having to split up to be able to handle. And how much can you really handle an event with 50k people, where people are going down like flies because of crowd surge and shit like that? Yeah, well, they were already being split up. Things were being done wrong. Like some members of the crowd, because for the most part we can say that a lot of people didn't know. Some people were probably were being negligent, but some members of the crowd were trying to do their best. But even then, if you're untrained and you don't know how to help people, even basic CPR can be a struggle to some people if they haven't been taught before. Then people are just going to get hurt and lose their lives.
Do you think 22 medical personnel? Sorry. Do you think 22 medical personnel was sufficient for?
Of course, no. That sounds wild.
It's terrible.
Like, can you do that? 50,000 people, only 22 people can treat you.
Because in terms of security, they usually say one. I think it's coming back to me now. They said one security guard per 500 people or something like that. For every 500 people, there needs to be a certain amount of security. So what was the thinking with the medical? Were they like for every whatever,
Bro.
one medical person. I don't
the
know
way the numbers
what that ratio was.
1.2. Sorry, so one person, so one medical member to 2.2k people.
They're cheap. They're cheap. I can't lie.
And that's just sticking to the 50,000 people.
That's sticking to 50.
They're cheap, fam. They're cheap.
That's honestly terrible.
And I think,
Wait.
especially you should, when you're doing that kind of stuff, you should take into account who the hell is performing.
Yeah.
This wasn't like a classical music type thing. You weren't going to the opera. This was a Travis Scott performance who has a history of people like maybe passing out. Shit happened.
It was a lack of planning, fam.
Shit happened. It wasn't a lack of planning. I think it was negligence, bruv.
It was like, and to summarize my points, yeah,
Go ahead.
I believe that Travis Scott, again, he didn't do anything. This was completely on the people who are specifically hired to manage crowds and to watch over crowds
For the most part,
and
yeah.
the risk assessment teams, fam. That your job is the people's safety, my guy. What happened? You get me? Where were you, man? You get me? And then to sort of balance what I'm saying, so it's not like I'm some Travis Scott fucking fanboy, yeah, that thinks he's innocent. Travis Scott has a long history, as you've pointed out, yeah, and as people know, of creating hostile concert environments, yeah. Because you look through his history, he was arrested twice, 2017, 2015, yeah. And that's because this guy he's on stage and he's telling people, run up to the stage, fuck the police, screw the security guard, man. Like, ignore what they're saying, just dodge them, run over, get up here, you get me? There's another concert where, this one didn't make the headlines, but it was on Twitter, yeah, where some guy was moving mad and then security got onto them and then Travis like, no, what's security doing? Don't touch my fans, you get me? So he's always like, trying to, break the rules and The only thing is that crazy stuff hasn't happened or he's been getting off scot-free.
You're terrible. You're terrible.
But anyway, so in another one of them in that 20 that was off the top. In the 2017 one, he again encouraged people to jump off the balconies. You get me?
I heard that.
So I'm not saying this guy's innocent. I'm just want to localize it to this event here. This is on them. But Travis Scott has been reckless, yeah. But it's just now, it's reached this boiling point. You get me? It's gone over the top. But again, to go back to the 2017 scenario, people are on balconies that are 2-3 stories up, yeah. And he's saying, "I see you, but are you gonna do it? Are you gonna jump? What? Go on, jump. Don't worry, they'll catch you." This is what he was saying.
Was this at this event?
No, this was 2017.
2017. Oh.
He was telling people, yeah, jump, fam. One guy jumped, paralyzed for life. And even in that one, yeah, is it victim blaming to ask a 25-year-old man why he was jumping off balconies?
I mean, maybe he didn't get the lesson when he was younger. If your friends told you to jump over a bridge, will you jump?
You're dumb. You're dumb.
He never got that lesson,
No,
bro.
no,
lie.
I was told not to jump, fam.
I was told not to jump too.
No, but
But that's
what
his
I mean.
friend. If Travis Scott tells you to, are you gonna do it?
You get me? Is it victim blaming? I genuinely want to know when.
No, that's what Travis is.
That goes back to your scapegoat question now. In that scenario, are we just going to blame Travis like this man didn't jump off? Like people didn't voluntarily jump off. He was encouraging them, but at the end of the day, the choice is yours.
Yeah, I won't blame Travis Scott for that. I do think the guy that jumped off, God rest his soul, even though he's not dead, he's paralyzed. That's peak. Like, that's your fault, man. That's your fault, my guy.
It is.
Like, whenever you make a stupid decision, it's honestly your fault.
But I don't think it's what they're doing, in my opinion, I don't think it's scapegoating. Scapegoating, in my opinion, it's like, let me actually get the opinion of scapegoating.
But you know what it is, fam?
I wanna
Travis Scott. Nigga, people
No,
off. In all the headlines, yeah, they're just talking about how he was encouraging people to jump off. What were you doing, fam?
Okay, tough. Scapegoating is the practice of singling out a person or a group for unmerited blame and consequent negative treatment. Okay? First of all, in my opinion, this isn't singling someone out because
It is, though.
Hold on.
To some degree.
This isn't singling someone out because he's not the only person being punished, like in terms of like the lawsuit and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And again, people are going to Travis Scott because, big man, it's his name, his face is on the whole event. It's not saying Live Nation presents Travis Scott.
Yeah.
Big man, it's just his name up there. As you said, this is his concert. It's not Travis Scott. It's not Live Nation employing Travis Scott. It's Travis Scott employing Live Nation. This is his name. It's the same way as, what's it called? You know, like at a club or something.
Yep.
It's one of them ones that, okay, let's say a madness happens in the club. Yeah. Absolute madness. First of all, you're putting the blame on the club, not just the individuals. And what's it called? The promoters, what's it called? The promoters do get some backlash, but the club will get the biggest end. Will get what's it called? What's the term of?
I know what you're trying to say.
It's sort of like, I think Three Shots was talking about it, where they would say they would want to do an event at a venue, but the venue would turn them away because they say, no, you bring in a rowdy crowd.
Yeah.
So they had consequences for what the perceived opinion or perceived behavior of their crowd was. They weren't allowed to go there. So they are now being blamed for what other people at the events do. You get me?
Yeah, because like the club, so what I'm saying is like the club will get the worst of it. Even though the promoter will get some backlash, maybe won't be allowed to perform in certain places, but the club is going to get them because it's the club's name. This is your thing. It's same thing with Travis Scott. This is his thing. Like,
no, I understand why people are pointing the finger at him because, again, like just to summarize what you're saying, it's like he's the face. There's people in the back scenes that, you know, these faceless people. You can't point at some shadow. You can only point at who you see in front of you, and Travis Scott was the front man for it. I'm just saying, people's, the finger should be really pointed at this event, but it's covered up by Travis Scott being the face of the event.
Plus, scapegoating is like unmerited blame. Again, it's not his. In my opinion, it's not his fault. It happened. If you can take certain steps to prevent more shit from happening, and you don't, then you do have some blame on you.
I think he shouldn't be doing this, fam. Like, and this goes on to another thing about reckless behavior in concerts in general. You get me? Yeah. Not to say not to overshadow what Travis Scott's been doing, but we see it in different aspects where behavior goes unchecked until it blows up, and then attention gets drawn to it, and then that behavior, calms down a bit. But it happens all the time. Like, it just builds, blows up. Everyone's talking about it. Like, it doesn't happen all the time. Lil Uzi Vert this week had a concert. Someone passed out. Lil Uzi said, "I don't care. If you're going, go. If you're staying, stay in it. I'm not stopping my show. If you can't hack it, it's your own business." You get me? Imagine if people died in that one. It's peak for Lil Uzi. You get me? So people like Uzi, Playboy Carti, it's because they think they're rock stars. And rock has that, that, what's it called now? That air, or it just has that association of being reckless, of not caring. That's why Travis Scott's whole thing is being a rager. You get me? Going mad because rappers are now identifying themselves as this generation's age of rock stars, where we just do whatever we want. We smash microphones, So because they think it's cool, it happens and it's gone unchecked. But now we've seen how bad it can get when people are now also reflecting that behavior of being reckless and loose and all those things there.
But Taff, just saying that, you said that behavior goes unchecked. So you believe that behavior should be checked, yes? Because if you believe that behavior should be checked, that means it's something that shouldn't be done.
It shouldn't, but it happens. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like,
wrong, yes?
No, it's one of those things where it's like, it happens, but then it's like, it happens, it shouldn't, but no one really says anything. Remember, it's just what I was saying before. It happens. No one says anything until things go bad.
Of course not.
You get me?
You know that guy, you brought up the 2017 thing where the guy jumped off the roof.
Yeah.
Got paralyzed. Somebody off the balcony. Someone else jumped off and they were perfectly fine. Had multiple people jumped off and they're all perfectly fine, you still say, yo, that's stupid. But you'll wake up the next day and you'll move on, because it's not that deep.
It doesn't make you less of an idiot just because it went right.
Exactly. It doesn't make you less of an idiot
and
just because
that
it went
goes for
right.
all those other events where people are being reckless, where artists and the concert goers are all being reckless, but because people get home fine, no one says anything. It's like you drink, drive home, get home fine. It doesn't make you less reckless. You shouldn't do it. Whether it goes right or wrong, you shouldn't be doing it, but it just happens. You get me?
Yeah.
But then again, the drink driving thing, that's illegal. So I don't know if there's no law against, just being wild at a concert like that.
Yeah.
So I'll take that one back.
What I will say though is, and this is just, I guess this was just a dangerous combination. It being a Live Nation event and also being a Travis Scott event at the same time. Yeah, when you combine someone that has a history of being reckless and inciting the crowd to rage, to do wild things, to search towards the front, etc., etc.
Maybe they were a cheap deal, fam.
And
Yeah,
a company that
and then
has,
you
like,
a company
history of
that
negligence.
has a history of negligence. Their focus on safety and security is terrible. People have died and got injured at the events they posted before. You can only imagine. I mean, hindsight 2020, yeah. But I definitely didn't know about Live Nation before, but I know about them now. And if I was to ever go to a concert, best believe it has Live Nation on the front.
Might have to stay home, bro.
Yeah.
That's the sad thing about this generation. We don't care, fam. The truth is, we honestly do not care.
Why?
You get me?
How so?
We genuinely don't care about this stuff. Like, Live Nation happens, and then people are just going to be back there again
You
when
think
the
so?
next artist goes in. Because Travis Scott is the face of it, the average consumer is not going to be looking at, I'm not going. People are going to say, before they say they're not going to Live Nation, they'll say, I'm not going to a Travis Scott concert before they say Live Nation. So Live Nation is still going to be getting their bag and getting away with this stuff because people are only seeing the artists as the faces,
I mean, we'll
not
see
the
if they have a
companies
bag
that
to
are
get.
actually
Because
organizing.
most
After
people aren't
this,
looking into like the whole
got-
Yeah,
organizers and stuff.
the only way Live Nation gets affected is if artists, they're the people that. So these concerts don't make money if artists don't go. So if artists actually boycott Live Nation, forget like consumers and all that stuff. If the people that the Live Nation lives off say, yeah, we're not performing there, good luck. And artists bring in your tickets. Like, if you don't have me, the headline acts going there, you're not going to sell tickets. You're not going to make money at your concert. If they start boycotting stuff like Live Nation, then that's when you start seeing change. Because to be honest, the consumer doesn't matter. The consumer doesn't care. We'll be there at the next Live Nation event. You get me? Same with Afro Nation. Afro Nation, people didn't get their money for tickets. People still went. Well, when it's happening again, people still bought tickets again. Like, it's that whole. It's not fake outrage. It's just people can't be angry forever, and I don't expect them to be angry forever. But let's not pretend that you're supposed to be angry forever.
All right. Well, I just want to take a swing with where we're at. Still on this topic, Travis Scott and the event, but he did apologize. He had one that he posted on Instagram, I think, and he also put it on Twitter as well. And he also had the video one that he uploaded on Instagram. Okay. The apology got quite a lot of flack for seeming ungenuine. It had a black and white filter. We'll put a little snippet of the thing right here. And it hasn't generally been well received. Now, my question to you guys is any celebrity apology ever genuine? / can it ever be viewed as such? So essentially, at this point in society, are celebrity apologies redundant because the majority of people always find the flaws in the apology? Yeah. Or is it issue celebrities truly just not caring at this point?
You can't know whether someone truly cares or not, but we can work off what we visually see.
Yeah.
And there's already a disposition towards thinking people with wealth, primarily from what I've seen, it's because these people are wealthy that people just naturally assume they don't care. And it doesn't help when the incentives are obvious, where it's like, you want to keep your bag, so you will make this apology, whether you believe in it or not. It's true. Like Dave. That's what makes Dave Chappelle so rare, because he says this stuff, doesn't release some crocodile tears apology. And I think people actually work against themselves by calling apologies fake. So to me, the Travis Scott apology, it's an okay apology. People, you screw yourself over because you want to be tricked, is what I hear when people criticize Travis Scott's apology. You want to be tricked. You want someone to come there, do their makeup, crocodile tears, sit down with good lighting, look directly in the camera, and have it this one wonderfully produced apology. You want that.
You think people want that? Because I don't
Because
think...
when Travis Scott did his raw one, where you're seeing my man uncomposed there.
It wasn't raw.
So how was that staged?
No, wait, Taff, it had a black and white filter thrown on. Wait, Taff, you tell me.
You want to see this thing in space in color?
Wait,
Taff,
no,
you're trying to do it to emphasize seriousness. Like,
Exactly.
This shit's too serious for color. Let me put
Exactly.
black and white
Wait,
nonsense.
Taff. Throwing a black and white filter is almost dismissive.
You know
Because
what's mad?
when you put a black and white filter on something, normally, you're doing it to make your thing more sad, right? Because that's something that is used in media, that's used in films. That's fam. You could use that on TikTok or on Instagram, whatever, to convey feeling sad. That I'm such a lonely guy. Blah blah blah. You could
Okay, cool.
use
And
black and
what's
white
wrong
filter
with
to do
that? What's wrong with that?
So employing the use of a tool like that when you're making an apology just seems bad mind because it's almost like you're trying
You know
to make
what's
people
bad mind?
What?
Them YouTubers that be edited, that be crying on camera and then doing 2-3 hours of editing on their face crying, fam.
And people
and
address
posting
that
it.
too. People
You're
address
talking
that
about
too.
Travis Scott recording it and doing black and white filter done,
Actually, can I just
and then
say
he
something?
releasing it.
In my opinion, did Travis Scott say he's going to do anything to prevent this kind of stuff happening in the future?
We don't know yet. We need to give opportunity.
Did
for
he
that
say
to
anything
be
in the
said.
apology?
In the apology, he just said
No, he
he's
just said
he's
he's
focusing on
looking
this
into
current
things.
event
He's
now.
going- focusing
Because
on
in my
this.
opinion, every apology is redundant without action.
Yeah, so we just need to give him the opportunity to, see what happens. in the next
Even
one.
though the black and white thing is booky, in my opinion,
It is.
it is booky,
Bro.
We will wait and see whether it's
I don't want to
apology.
hear chat about the filter. I'm sorry.
I'm not putting filters
What are
on
you
He's
the
done
phone.
it in
about?
black and white.
No,
It's
no,
not that
no,
deep.
No, Taff.
Leave
Your
it.
eyes
No,
is
Taff.
terrible.
Because it's the same way I look at people that edit apologies.
Yeah.
I'm like, the only reason, in my opinion, it's okay to edit your apology video is if you start crying, you want to cut that part out. That's the only reason, in my opinion, you should be editing or you get interrupted. That's the only reason you should be editing apology videos. Nothing else should be edited in an apology video because you're not doing it for clout. You're not doing it for views. You're doing it just to apologize. You don't need to do it for showmanship or none of that. You don't need to. If your apology is sincere enough, it should attract enough sympathy, I guess. I'm not saying that that's what you should be aiming for, but that's just what happens. You don't need to enhance your apology to attract more sympathy or anything like that.
Exactly.
The fact
And
that-
the
no,
apologies
no,
aren't for sympathy.
No,
Therefore,
hold on. I know.
your redemption and all those other things.
That's why you
I
do
know,
the black and
Taff.
white filter for redemption. Taff,
but
please.
that's what I'm saying. The fact that he consciously on his phone, he was like, let me post this. He's like, hold on. Let me add this black and white filter quickly.
Maybe, you know what's mad? We're thinking, I just want to be a positive guy in this scenario, yeah? Maybe he looked at himself and maybe he was guilty, or maybe he has shame right now. If we believe that this guy's a human being, not some psychopath that doesn't have feelings, yeah?
Yeah.
If he's a human being, you're looking at yourself in this moment, this is probably his lowest moment ever as an artist, yeah? And he's making this a video, and he's like, maybe this filter, he doesn't like what he's saying in that filter. You get me? So maybe the black and white is for him. You get me? Not even for the public like that. You get me?
No, I get what you're saying. I was just trying to process.
This is actually...
Wait,
you're
I was just
done
waiting to
out.
listen.
You're done out.
I was just trying to process what you were saying.
You're done out.
Wait,
You're done out.
wait.
was looking at you.
I'm just trying to process what you were saying. So no, I was trying to. That's genuinely what I was doing. Yeah. So what you're saying is that he put a black and white filter for himself because when he looked at the video without that filter, so let's just say with the normal camera footage,
Yeah.
he just didn't like it. It felt shameful to him to a certain extent. So he put the black and white filter to, I don't know, help him in a certain way. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's a
The
potential.
apology
thought.
isn't for him though.
Yeah, it is hypothetical. It's like
hypothetical.
all of our points are hypothetical.
No, wait.
Oh, yes.
Wait, Taff. We're not talking hypotheticals when we're saying what a black and white filter is traditionally used for and
He is not
what it's supposed to make people feel when you see a black and white filter. Yeah,
Okay,
those
fair
aren't
enough,
hypotheticals. Those are proven
enough.
throughout media.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
So when we're saying he used it, I'm not saying he definitely used it for that reason. But most of the time, this has been used in the past is because this helps people understand that you're trying to feel sad and bad about whatever happened right now or whatever's going on in the video right now. So that's people can call that out and say
Okay,
that just felt
so
really
if he did
off.
the opposite of it, where it's highly saturated, like the colors are nice, they're popping out.
Don't touch the color.
What do you
just
mean?
Post the video. Bro.
Yeah, what do you mean? Like,
Just
if we,
don't put
it's
no
not that
filter,
deep, bro.
don't edit
Honestly,
it.
even if you don't talk about the black and white filter, like I watched the apology again through today, yeah, and I looked at it, and the fact that man couldn't even look me in the eyes, and
Damn.
I'll tell you this right now, I am not directly affected by this at all.
Yeah.
Like I don't know anybody there, don't have any family in Texas.
Oh please, Mo,
But it doesn't
don't do
affect
that.
me.
There's no logic in that. There's
No,
no logic in that
bro.
statement. He
Man
couldn't
was
look in the
doing-
eyes. Are you being serious?
No, bro, wait. If you're apologizing and you're looking down the entire time, dude, would your parents not just
You're
slap you and take your
ashamed.
hand up?
You're ashamed.
But why
That's
are you
normal
ashamed?
behavior when people are ashamed. You
but
can't look people in the eyes and
exactly.
shame.
But whenever you are ashamed, yeah, because you can feel sorry that you've done something, yeah, and feel ashamed that you,
Yeah.
in some way contributed to that, and he can, even if he doesn't feel like he's at fault directly, like you've been trying to explain this entire podcast, yeah, it was still his show. He still hired people. The fact that people died at his event, he's gonna be sad about that. I agree, yeah. But even if you're ashamed about something like that, if you're trying to apologize and address a multitude of people, you looking down and not looking people in the lens or in the eye, it's
Bro.
bad. Taff, if you were ever to do something bad as a kid and or even now, people are telling you to apologize, whatever, or if you're trying to apologize and you're looking down the entire time, it's just off. It's wrong.
You're ashamed, and that's cultural
Even if you're
norms.
ashamed, put your head up, fam.
That's cultural norms. That's cultural norms. It's
cultural
different.
norms to put your head down
It's
when you're
cultural norms.
apologizing.
Like,
I'm sorry.
You're
If I shouldn't. Backhand you. What are you talking about? No, Taff, let's be serious. Let's be serious. Let's be
I'm
serious.
not
I
gonna
am
lie.
serious.
I'm not gonna lie.
No,
To,
and bro, that's poor.
if I got in trouble and I can't look at my parents,
It's poor.
Hold on.
It's poor.
And let's not even get into cultural norms. Not even to bring that up yet. People react differently. Is that so hard to believe?
No way. I'm not
That
saying
not
that
everyone.
people-
Some people can look you in the eye and apologize. Some people can't. But it doesn't make it less genuine. That's it.
Bro.
And you're disagreeing with that.
No, wait. So wait, listen. Wait, because we can do that. Okay, but here's where you shot yourself in the foot. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you said some people do
Go
this.
on.
So you said some people do this, some people do that. Yeah.
And it doesn't make it less genuine.
And it doesn't make it less genuine, yeah. Now, so if him having a different reaction in how he chooses to apologize, I'm not saying it's unnatural to want to put your head down. It is completely natural. I'm sure we have all done it before when we've been caught out for doing something and we've been told to apologize or we choose to apologize, yeah. It's hard to look authority or judgment. It's hard to look judgment. Here we go. It's hard to look judgment in the face and apologize.
Okay.
When you're looking at your parents when you're younger and you're trying to apologize for something, it's also because they're an authority figure, but also because it's judgment. They're going to judge you while you're saying this. He's obviously not looking at authority figure when he's posting this apology. He's looking at judgment from millions and thousands of fans. Yeah, that's what he's looking at. Putting his head down isn't unnatural, but if you're not going to tell me that there wasn't any PR team involved with his apology, which there likely was with the written one and the video one, there are people involved. If those people can't tell him, hey bro, your head's down, that's almost disrespectful. The fact that your head is down, because it was down for the beginning, first half of the video, where he's like, it looked like it was taxing for him to have to make the video. In my opinion, he might as well just have not posted it and just gone off with the written one, because I don't even
That
know how
would be
you.
more
I don't know how you do a video apology.
Then the headlines is Travis Scott holds silence in the
No,
in
if-
the
No, 'cause
wake
it's
of
not
dying
silence, because
fans.
he still posted. He still
released a
wrote
statement.
something. He released a
Okay,
statement.
but
No. Then people would say, "Oh, he doesn't respect us enough to come on camera like a real man."
Okay,
But then
so
that's
that-
a reach. But then they're reaching.
No.
Then
That's
they're reaching.
reaching. What you're doing
no,
now
what
is
I'm,
reaching.
what I'm doing now is not
And
reaching.
can I say
Taff.
this putting the head down thing? I understand if you're making an apology in person, big man. This is on camera.
No, but in your
Was
head.
that the first take, Taff?
No, hold on.
Was that
hold
the
on.
first take? Do you believe that was first take?
I don't know.
No, do
But
you
are you going to
believe-
tell me it
do
wasn't?
you no, I cannot
There
say.
we go.
I cannot say
It's
whether
a
it
checkmate.
was.
It's
I cannot
stalemate,
say.
fam.
No, wait. I cannot say whether it was or wasn't first take. But we can talk about probability, whether it was or not. Do you think?
Oh,
Do you
probability.
think?
Toss out the
you
window.
talk to
Toss
me.
out the window.
Toss out the window. Okay,
Toss out the window.
let's
We're
toss
not-
chance out the window. Let's toss chance out the window.
No,
You tell me the chance.
Bro, this is on camera. You're moving
Based
like
on
this.
what?
He wasn't
Honestly,
basing
these chances
he
on,
wasn't
fam.
talking
Hey
about.
guys, this is actually our fifth take of this same conversation, yeah?
Oh.
Now you tell me whether or not you believe that. And guess what? They'll say they don't believe it because our emotions are heightened right now. We're saying shit, we're reacting off each other, yeah?
Yeah.
Taff, they would not believe it because it doesn't make sense for this to be a fifth take of this thing. If this is fifth take, I'm telling you, we're talented, yeah?
That's true. That's
This
true.
shit is first take.
That's true.
Taff, tell me, do you honestly believe? Let's please. I'm not even trying to bury Travis. You already know that for the most part, I blame Live Nation.
Yeah.
But we're just talking about the apology here. Like, just the Live Nation is not involved with the apology. With the apology, can you please not at least admit? Do you think it was first take or not? Most likely, in your opinion, is it
Most
first take or not?
likely, fam. Most likely.
Most likely it was what? First
Yeah.
take or not?
First take.
You think it was first take?
Yeah. It wasn't well composed. Let's be honest here. I doubt you're retaking that.
Fair enough.
If that was a fifth take and it came out like that, Mo,
Exactly. It came out like what though?
came out uncomposed.
So wait, so you're already saying you don't even you think it came out like that? What is that? Uncomposed.
Uncomposed, yeah.
So is that a bad apology because it's uncomposed, or is it just more raw? Natural?
It's raw. To me, it's just raw. Like it's an apology. It's just not well written one where it's eloquent in terms of delivery. He just delivered his apology, and maybe in those situations you don't have the time to be giving out these nice, powerful speeches.
That's fair.
You get me?
And do you think
Sometimes it can be genuine and uncomposed. Like
That's fair enough. Do you think the black and white photo was a good choice? Your personal opinion, yes or no?
stylistically, I would have went with
Yes or no? This guy's doing stylistically. I would have went with a beige filter overtone.
I don't know, a Vinci, one of them filters
Oh, yeah.
there. Oh, cool. 1 hour 30, I guess.
Yeah,
But-
we'll have to wrap this up soon.
You have them. Oh, should you want to ask the polls?
Yeah, so just the polls and what people said about the apology, actually. So some people said it's not by force, that they're slandered. It's just that they're always so poor, so they get ripped into, which is fair enough.
It's true.
For the most part, a lot of them are just.
It's true. There's no such thing as a good apology. You man have never given me a good apology since I asked about one.
Oh, what?
An apology. What apologies have you guys seen that you actually rate?
I don't think I've
Where
paid attention.
someone has done something wrong and they've apologized for it, and people have not said, "Nah, this is just a marketing ploy. PR wrote this. They're just doing it to save their bag." Bro, I agree. I
General
see too.
Marbles.
There's too many incentives that you have to
hold
make this
on.
apology.
General Marbles was a good apology in my opinion on YouTube.
And what did she
Can you
apologize
elaborate,
for?
please?
She apologized for. She got called out for videos that she'd made in the past, like around 2010, 2011,
Okay.
shit like that. And the videos where she used, I don't want to say it's blackfishing because I'm not sure if that's exactly the term people are using, but she was like putting orange stuff on her face, certainly taking the mick out of certain races, I think, and stuff along those lines. And she would just hopefully apologize. That's not even a word, but she apologized essentially, and then it was well received by the people, which I think is a good, turn of whether apology is good or not. Because if the majority of people say, "Oh, I feel, that apology was good," then it probably is a good apology. But if the majority of people,
qualities? Okay, so can you please make it clear
what qualities? I can't tell you what the qualities of a good apology are because every
we
apology
go.
is different.
There we go.
Every apology is different.
It's different.
No, but what you can say is that if your apology doesn't satisfy or appeal to a majority of the people,
It's not in your control whether people are satisfied or not.
okay, but do you
Use
hear
your
what you're
heads.
saying? Do you hear what you're saying? Do you hear what
Yes,
you're saying?
it's not in your control.
So wait, what you're saying is if you apologize
So
to someone,
that-
what you're saying, Tap, is if you apologize to someone. So if you're apologizing to me over something you did, if I don't like your apology, you don't give a shit because it's only up to me whether I like it or not. It's on you to make me like the apology. Yes
For
or
how
no?
long?
For how long?
Do I need to cry
In my
blood?
opinion, it doesn't need to satisfy the majority. It just needs to satisfy those affected.
Those affected, but even
this,
those
this
affected.
is what it goes back to. You man want people to cry crocodile tears, cry rivers
don't
of
want them
blood,
to
fam.
cry.
You do, you do. You want tears. You
Did I
man
say
won't
that was a
stop till you
quality
hear
I'm looking
tears.
for?
No. I'm telling you,
Tav,
you
hold
are
on.
not in control.
Tav, don't say that's what you want because remember, I already said the only time I think it's even acceptable if you start breaking down on camera, you're like, okay, let me just give these man an actual composed apology. I think that's the only acceptable time to edit an apology. Again, in my opinion, there is such thing as a good apology. If you feel remorse for what you've done, and the victims or whoever's affected by what you did is satisfied by what.
And then
by the
when they're not
apologies,
satisfied,
then
what happens then?
if you ask them why and if you atone for what you did, because in my opinion, this is all part of the apology. It's the apology and it's the atonement.
Exactly. But which one's more important? Like, I think we briefly touched over
The
it.
atonement is more important.
Exactly.
The
So
atonement is more important.
Travis Scott's apology could be what it is now, but what happens if he does better things to atone for it?
If he
We'll have to wait and see.
Exactly. We will see the actions follow. You could have a well-produced apology and not do fuck all afterwards, but your apology was nice though. You get me? Or you could have a pretty, the majority would consider a crappy apology, whatever it looks like, yeah? But then you could do everything in your best power. Like, you could not put into words how sorry you are, but you can show people how sorry you are with your actions.
No, hold on, Taf. I think the apology has to be over a certain standard, then you can atone.
What's the standard?
Because in my opinion, it's one of them ones. Can I-
You can't say it. You can't say what
That's
it
it.
is.
So when you man are
Taf,
talking about filters,
Taf, there's no way to
there's no
quantify.
rules and regulations.
Taf, number one, there's no you can't.
There's no
way
rules and
to verbally
regulations, but you know
quantify an
what
apology.
man was trying to
you're moving
do.
mad. There's
Taf,
no way.
you're doing
There's
too
no way
much.
to. There's no way to verbally quantify an apology.
Yes.
The decency of an apology. That's number one. So don't say, what was it? There's
Yes.
no way to quantify it. You can either say you're satisfied by an apology or you're not. There's no way
Yeah.
to quantify it.
and are you in control
And-
of whether someone's satisfied or not?
Yes, you are. Because if
You
your
are in
apology
control.
isn't good enough,
You're
you
not
can
in
make
control.
No,
You are
hold,
in control
hold
because
on,
you choose
Taf.
what you put
Hold-
out.
Hold on, Taf.
No, you're not in control of how people react to it.
No, but
You're in
wait.
control of what you do, but not people's reactions.
Wait.
If your apology isn't good enough, then you need to make a better apology. That's it.
But what makes
in
it not
terms of
good
victim,
enough?
It depends on the victim's
Tough.
needs. It
Wait, okay.
depends on the victim's needs.
Actually, we can say this. Yeah, you can't say what makes a good apology, but you can certainly say what makes a bad apology.
Filter.
Yeah, and that filter contributes to having
You
to
take
it being
that
a bad
outside
apology.
the door, fam. Anti-vaxxer, fam. That's what this sounds like. That's what this.
I've got both
This
jabs.
is
Don't do that.
anti-vax mentality. This is,
Taf, you're
It really
presenting
isn't.
anti-vax mentality.
no. You guys are talking about a filter, my guy.
Wait, Taf, have you been
A
vaccinated?
filter.
Because I know most
Not
doubly
completely.
vaccinated. I've been partially vaccinated.
I've been
So
partially
stop
vaccinated
saying
as
this
well.
anti-vaxxer nonsense.
Yeah, don't do
Because
that.
Taf, thing is,
It's true.
Taf, because we're not arguing. We're not.
This
It's not.
guy,
It's not. It's
this
not
guy
like
got the
what.
religious
Taf,
vaccination.
it's not the fact that what you're saying is falling upon deaf ears. Okay, I think in bad apology is something that what's the opposite of genuine? Disingenuous.
Yeah.
Is that the
Disingenuous.
word?
Yeah, that's the
Disingenuous.
word,
yeah.
that's the
I
word.
think anything that comes off as disingenuous, such as the filter.
I don't think the filter came off as
It
disingenuous.
did. It
come
did.
off as
Taff, if a majority of people are telling you it did, it did. Just because you, the
Oh.
Mr. Robot, isn't seeing it. Yeah.
Oh my
Don't
god!
do that. Don't do that.
People say it.
Are you mad?
How many times have crowds
No
been
wonder.
wrong?
No wonder.
Guys,
That's why you identify with Travis, innit? Because
How
when he was in
many
the
times
robot
have
up on stage or
crowds
someone's
been
getting
wrong?
CPR, you're like, yeah.
Tough, again,
No,
I'm
yo, don't.
No, what do you mean?
Did you hear this?
I'm willing to bet you that these victims, like, why the fuck is there a filter on this video? Because again, I'm not even talking about the crowd. I'm talking about the victims. If your apology does not satisfy the victim,
Do it again.
big man, you need to
Take two.
You need to do better. I'm not saying do it again. You do better.
Yeah, you can't really do apologies twice.
I'm saying, bun the apology. You've released what you've released. He just needs to do better actions.
Yeah, at this
and
point,
to show the
at this point,
apology.
you can't release another apology.
And
It
you,
just has to do.
and you need to not even just do better actions. You need to make a gesture and an atonement of what you did. A gesture is mean
Exactly.
that something that shows that you're actually taking big steps. Something that is showing that it's not coming, because you know how Setman will do, like, just do something that doesn't come at any cost to them.
And do you think people with a platform should apologize to people that they've offended most of the time? Just this last bit. Do you think people with the platform should apologize to people that they've offended
Yeah.
with a
at all
platform.
times?
It depends whether they feel wrong for what they did.
Yeah, I'm only apologizing if I feel like I actually did something wrong.
If it feels...
Black women.
I knew you were gonna do this.
Yes. Apologize to black women.
Boom.
Can you tell me why I need to apologize to black
Tap.
people?
I'm going to stop you right there, because if you go back to rewatch that video, I think with Lawrence, I can't remember what the title is. Mo didn't just say they should go back to Africa.
I actually explained myself
If
twice.
he said, no, hold on, don't tap.
But
Let me finish. Let me finish. If he just said they should go back to Africa because of racism that they're experiencing here, or because of the way they're being treated here, that's hella wild. And I swear to God, if you clip what I'm saying right
Hella
now
wild.
and manipulate what I'm saying, I'm gonna fucking lock out.
I'm
You're in
not
trouble.
doing anything. I'm
I
not
won't
doing
clip
anything.
that.
Behave yourself.
I
But
won't clip that. Is what I said.
I'm defending you. If you clip it, I swear.
I won't clip it. Is what I said.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that Mo said it in terms of being uncomfortable with a certain situation that really will never change. He said it in terms of, what's it called? Being outnumbered in Europe.
Yeah,
Which realistically,
it's never going to.
that's
change.
not going to change.
Mo's correct in what he said.
So in my opinion, I think Mo could apologize for the way he worded it, but he shouldn't apologize for what he said.
Mo's correct in what he said, yeah. And he's justified in having his own opinion. But also, those people's feelings are real as well.
I'm not saying they're not real or invalid. In
So
any
you
way.
hurt feelings.
Mo,
I
when
heard
is your
feeling-
apology?
Hurt feelings doesn't mean apologize.
Mo, sorry. Do you see where you went wrong in your wording?
Yeah.
In your wording.
I think my wording was provocative. It was certainly.
Okay,
Do you not even apologize for the delivery?
No, wait, listen, delivery. Wait.
You get
Hold
on to
on.
Travis
Mo,
Scott.
your
These times you
delivery
have your own scandal that you need to be handling, yeah?
Scandal. What are you talking
No,
about?
I'm not
Who
gonna
am I,
lie.
fam?
No, I'm not gonna lie. Your delivery was mad.
My delivery was certainly. I'm the wild card.
No.
Wait,
Travis
no.
Scott's a rager.
Yeah,
I'm the
wait.
rager. So
No,
when
wait,
that
okay,
happens-
but wait, okay, but when you put
No.
it simply, yeah, if you're getting offended over or if you're offended over how I addressed what I said, or how I said what I said, then fundamentally, why are you upset? Because what I said was actually nothing to get upset
Because
over.
Mo, what you said, you used a common phrase that's used negatively against people of color, and more than that, you didn't even just address people of color. You addressed a certain gender that are part of the black community.
But
Exactly.
wait. But you know what? You know what's actually something I did actually want to address or fix up to what I said actually. When
There
I
you
actually,
go.
because at the end of the day, at the end of the episode, you guys tried to corner me again into what I said. Yeah. So I reiterated it, but this time I said black woman, I said Asian woman, I said Mexican. I don't know. If I
Why
said
just
Mexican
women, bro?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I don't know
why just women?
Exactly. I don't know why I did just women. Where in actuality, what
I
was
can't
saying-
lie. We need to take
reason-
responsibility for not even saying
Yeah,
anything about
exactly.
it. Just
The
women,
reason
bro.
the reason I did just woman, the reason I think I did just woman was because initially
think
I
we
was
were
only
talking about
we were
black-
talking
we were
about
talking
black
about-
women.
it was
and
in context.
It
You were
was,
talking
it was
about
due to
black
black.
women,
It's
but-
due to blackfishing
We should
claims.
point that out.
Yeah,
We should-
I thought of that after the fact. So I saw that after the fact and wish I had said men as well. So really, I was just trying to say any person of color, male or female, or anything else. If you're uncomfortable due to the fact that you feel outnumbered, and that is one of the main reasons you feel uncomfortable in the UK, in Western society, whatever. I suggest you go back home because it's probably better there. I already said as well,
Yeah.
other show as well. Please, if you're upset over the way I delivered myself, then in future, I will aim to deal with myself in a more appropriate manner, if that would help. In regard to, using a term or phrase that has been used against black people, as in, go back to your country. Is that that's what you're referring to, yeah?
Atonement, tough.
Yes.
I guess
atonement.
I guess I can see.
Listen.
Wait,
atonement.
Wait. So I guess I can
That's
see.
how it's done.
So I didn't finish. I won't lie to you. I didn't see that. Like I wasn't trying to get those vibes. I was just trying to say, hey, especially go back if that's the reason that you're feeling so uncomfortable here. But I can see how someone could be offended. But seeing as, I'm a black person myself, I thought that, maybe I'd be handed a card. So that's my bad. A bit of leniency in that regard. It's not like I'm a white person saying, go back to your country. Even if they were saying what I'm saying, I still think that's wild. But I'm black, so I thought I was going to get a little card, but of course not. In which case, I'll say... Of course not. Because I can't get shit nowadays, fam. So essentially, I will say I am... Sorry.
Just say... Okay, that's what we love to hear.
You're sorry.
I'm chucking the black and white filter on this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thank you guys for
I actually
listening.
apologize on the pod.
Thank you guys for listening to Sliders
Disgusting.
Podcast.
The whole pod in black and white.
You, man. I'm worried if the camera's still recording.
If it turned up, it turned up. Actually, I'll throw the phone out the window.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening to Sliders Podcast.
Yep.
Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your friends. Try to get us to 200 subscribers. We'd really appreciate it. It's one of them ones. Like our Facebook page. Task posting on there. You can follow our personal TikToks and the Sliders TikTok. We will post clips on there so you'll know whenever a new episode is out, whatever. Also follow us on Instagram.
Yes, sir.
And is there anything else? Any other social medias?
Nah, I think that's everything.
Okay, that's everything. And yeah, again, follow us on all major streaming platforms as well. That's something I forgot. And is there anything else we need to say?
No.
Just sign up.
No. And again, if you're a black girl, or even any girl, to be fair, I think we just lack a feminine opinion in a lot of things we talk about sometimes.
Because apparently we can't talk about groups of people without having them represented here. So we need to force representation like a CW show.
Okay,
but that's just me.
I agree.
That's a Riverdale.
I agree with you.
That's just me.
I
agree with you.
Okay.
We just need to
Shout out to that comment.
This is what I mean. Like, let's just go. Let's just go.
I don't know where that came from. That came off bad still. But anyway, thank you guys for listening, and don't be discouraged from commenting, despite the way these guys talk about the comments. So don't be discouraged from commenting. I encourage your comments.
Yep.
And any time you want to call these man out, go for it.
Yeah. And thank you for staying to the what's it called now? The Watch to the End Club. I think I've heard a few YouTubers say that. Because you're practically Watch to the End Club, because I doubt anyone sees the little dialogue we have at the end of this episode. They really don't. So maybe there are
actually some people that really watch this shit to the end.
Yeah.
Like people that they speak about whatever we talk about then. Like, I think one time this brother came up to me, I was like, you man never finish on time. He's like, you man just can't end the podcast.
Yeah.
You always have to do something extra.
That's true.
So like there are very small people that do watch to the very end of the podcast.
Appreciate you, man.
Boom. Sliding out.
Wait, but I didn't even sign out though.
Yeah, we didn't sign out.
I don't think anyone signed up.
No, we didn't.
Oh shit. Anyway.
A premature.
Anyway.
Okay. Thank you for listening to Sliders Podcast. I've been your host, Tustaf. You found it on the pod, aka the champion.
It's also been your host, Mo, Mobology, Rounds of Apology. That's what I'll be giving from now on.
Hey, off the top.
And it's been your boy Tom, man on the streets, whatnot.
AKA the Lumberjack.
Listen, these man, they just don't have any game to pick up tall girls.
Chopping, man.
They have no game to pick up tall girls. That's why they come with the Lumberjack.
Personified deforestation.
They're met. All I'm saying, them man's masculinity is too fragile for them to go for tall girls. But it is what it is. Anyway, thanks for listening and sliding out.